Hi everyone! Today you'll be finding the equation of a line given 2 points. Here's today's focused learning target. Given 2 points of a line, I will be able to write the equation of the line. So before we look at some examples, let's look at lines written in slope-intercept form. So lines written in slope-intercept form will look like this. Y equals mx plus b, or y equals m times x plus b. M is our slope. It tells us how slanted the line is. And the slope is given by rise over run, so how much you go up or down, over how much you go right or left. The formula for slope is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. It's the change in y over the change in x. And then b is your y-intercept. So when does the line cross the y-axis? The y-intercept is the point at 0, b. So we've seen how to find the slope and also how to find the y-intercept. Today we're combining these ideas to find the equation of a line from 2 points. For our first example, we will find the equation of the line that passes through the points 3, 1 and 5, 7. So what line passes through these 2 points? I always start off by labeling each part of these points as x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, and y sub 2. So for this example, x sub 1 equals 3, and y sub 1 equals 1, x sub 2 equals 5, and y sub 2 equals 7. It's really important here to correctly label your x and y values. So now that we labeled the x and y values, our first main step is to find the slope. How do we find the slope? We're going to use this formula, m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. These are the values we just found, so I'm just going to replace it. I'll have 7 minus 1 over 5 minus 3. For this example, y sub 2 equals 7, and then y sub 1 equals 1. X sub 2 equals 5, and x sub 1 equals 3. So make sure you're correctly replacing each value. Okay, let's move on from here. 7 minus 1 is 6 over 5 minus 3 equals 2. And then what's 6 divided by 2? 3. So our slope for this line is 3. By using the formula, we found that our slope m equals 3. That means our line will look like y equals 3x plus b. So from here, we also have to find the b value, the y-intercept. So how do we find the b value? Well, we're actually just going to choose a point to find the y-intercept, and you can choose either point, whichever one looks easier to you. I'm going to choose the first point, 3, 1. It's where x equals 3 and y equals 1. From here, it's similar to when we were given the slope and 1 point of a line. We already have the slope, and we chose 1 point of this line. Since the slope is 3, our equation has the form y equals 3x plus b. But instead of x and y, I'll replace it. So 1 equals 3 times 3 plus b. Based on the point we chose, our y value is 1, based on this point, and our x value is 3. Okay, let's move on from here. To simplify, I'm going to multiply 3 times 3, which is 9. So I have 1 equals 9 plus b. And I want b by itself. So how do I remove the 9? What do I do to both sides? I'll subtract 9 from both sides so that this part cancels out. 1 minus 9 is negative 8, and on the right side, we're left with b. So we have negative 8 equals b, which is the same as b equals negative 8. We found our b value. We found both the slope and the y-intercept. So our equation will look like y equals mx plus b, and we just found both m and b. M equals 3, b equals negative 8. So we have y equals 3x plus negative 8. I rewrite it just a little bit to get our final equation of the line, y equals 3x minus 8. I know this was a little lengthy, so go ahead, pause, and rewind as necessary before you move on to the next example. Also, in case you were curious, here's the equation of the line. Notice it has a slope of 3, and the y-intercept is at 0, negative 8. Also, it's going through the 2 points, 3, 1 and 5, 7, just as the example mentioned. So as usual, a great way to check your work is by looking at the graph. For our next example, let's find the equation of the line that passes through the points 6, 1 and 8, 3. We're first going to label the x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, and y sub 2 values. So I have x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, and y sub 2. So for here, x sub 1 equals 6, y sub 1 equals 1, and x sub 2 equals 8, and y sub 2 equals 3. Our first step is to find the slope of the line. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which in this case is 3 minus 1 over 8 minus 6. That's because y sub 2 equals 3 and y sub 1 equals 1. X sub 2 equals 8 and x sub 1 equals 6. So make sure you're correctly replacing the values. Moving on from here, 3 minus 1 equals 2, 8 minus 6 equals 2. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. Our slope here is m equals 1. So our equation will look like y equals 1x plus b, and we have to find the b value, so the y-intercept. So our next step is to choose a point to find the y-intercept. And again, you can choose either point, whichever one seems easier for you. I'll choose the first point and label it x and y. And from earlier, we know that the slope is 1, so y equals 1x plus b. So we'll have 1 equals 1 times 6 plus b. And that's because based on the point we chose, our x value is 6 and our y value is 1. So we're just replacing x and y with the actual values of the chosen point. Next, 1 times 6 is 6. So I have 1 equals 6 plus b. To get b by itself, I'm going to subtract both sides by 6. This cancels out, and 1 minus 6 equals negative 5. On the right side, we're left with b. So b equals negative 5. So the equation of the line has the form y equals mx plus b, and so y equals, in this case, 1x plus negative 5, because m equals 1 and b equals negative 5. Technically, we don't have to write the 1, so I have y equals x minus 5. So we first found the slope, then chose one of the points to help us find the y-intercept. And once we found the slope and the y-intercept, we were able to write the equation of this line, y equals x minus 5. This is the graph of this line. The slope is 1 and our y-intercept is at 0, negative 5. And it's going through the points 6, 1 and 8, 3. So we're correct. Please try this example on Edpuzzle. Find the equation of the line that passes through the points 1, 1 and 2, 6. Be sure to correctly label your x and y values. Then find the slope. And once you find the slope, choose one of the points to find the y-intercept. And then you can write the equation of your line. Remember, you can use Desmos to check your work. For our fourth example, let's find the equation of the line that passes through the points negative 6, negative 7, and 6, 3. Even though there are some negative values now, the steps remain the same as earlier. Let's start off by labeling our x and y values. So for this example, x sub 1 equals negative 6, and y sub 1 equals negative 7. X sub 2 equals 6, and y sub 2 equals 3. First, let's find the slope. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which means we have 3 minus negative 7 over 6 minus negative 6. Be careful about the negative numbers here. Here's the color coding so that you can see how we got each value. And then here we have some double negatives. So instead of 3 minus negative 7, we'll have 3 plus 7. And instead of 6 minus negative 6, we'll have 6 plus 6. 3 plus 7 equals 10 over 6 plus 6, which equals 12. And we can reduce this a little. We can simplify it by dividing both the numerator and denominator by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5 over 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So our slope, m, equals 5 over 6. So for every 5 that we go up, we go 6 to the right. So I have y equals 5 over 6 x plus b. And I have to find the b value, or y-intercept. So we found the slope. Now let's find the y-intercept. So when you're choosing points, you can choose either one. For this one, I'm going to choose the second one. And I have my x and y values. So instead of y equals 5 over 6 x plus b, I'll replace x and y. So I'll have 3 equals 5 over 6 times 6 plus b. So 3 equals 5 over 6 times 6 over 1, just rewriting as a fraction, plus b, which means 3 equals 30, because that's 5 times 6, over 6, because that's 6 times 1, and then plus b. And 30 divided by 6 equals 5, so 3 equals 5 plus b. I need more space, so let me move over here. So far we have 3 equals 5 plus b. And how can I get rid of this 5? I'm going to subtract both sides by 5. So I'm left with negative 2 equals b. So I was able to find my y-intercept. b equals negative 2. So I can write my equation, y equals 5 over 6, our slope, times x plus negative 2. After rewriting, I get the equation y equals 5 over 6 times x minus 2. Here's the graph. For every 5 that we move up, we move 6 to the right. Our y-intercept is at 0, negative 2, and we're going through the 2 points that were given. For example 5, let's find the equation of the line that passes through the points negative 2, 4, and 7, negative 5. I need to find all my x and y values for this problem. So in this case, x sub 1 equals negative 2, y sub 1 equals 4, x sub 2 equals 7, and y sub 2 equals negative 5. Let's find the slope. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So that means I have negative 5 minus 4 over 7 minus negative 2. Be careful as you replace each value. Negative 5 minus 4, I'm rewriting it a little here, and then over 7 plus 2 because of that double negative. Negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9 over 7 plus 2, which is 9. That simplifies to negative 1. Our slope for this problem is m equals negative 1. We have a negative slope here. That means the line is going down. So I'll have something like y equals negative 1x plus b, and I have to find our b value. We're going to choose a point to find this b value. So again, you can choose either point. I'm going to go with the first point. I label it x and y. So instead of y equals negative 1x plus b, I'll have 4 equals negative 1 times negative 2 plus b, based on the point I chose. First, I want to multiply this part. Negative 1 times negative 2 equals positive 2. So I have 4 equals 2 plus b. Next, how do I isolate b? I'm going to subtract both sides by 2. This cancels out, and 4 minus 2 equals 2. So I have 2 equals b. In other words, b equals 2. We found our b value. Based on the slope and y-intercept we found, our equation is y equals negative 1 times x plus 2. And rewriting this, I have y equals negative x plus 2. This is the equation of the line going through the points negative 2, 4 and 7, negative 5. This line, as I mentioned, has a negative slope. It's decreasing. And the y-intercept is at 0, 2. And it is indeed going through the two given points. Let's do one more example together. Let's find the equation of the line that passes through the points negative 3, negative 1 and negative 4, negative 4. Go ahead and try labeling your x and y values first on your own, and then press play when you're ready to review your answers. So here, x sub 1 equals negative 3, y sub 1 equals negative 1, x sub 2 equals negative 4, and y sub 2 equals negative 4. There's a lot of negatives, but don't worry, let's take it step by step. Let's find the slope. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we have negative 4 minus negative 1 over our x values, negative 4 minus negative 3. Here we have some double negatives, so let me rewrite it as -4 plus 1 over -4 plus 3. -4 plus 1 is -3, and -4 plus 3 is -1. So I have -3 over -1, which simplifies to 3. And for now, you guys can use calculators to check your work. So we found that our slope is 3. So our equation looks like y equals 3x plus b, and we have to find b. We found m, and now we have to find the b value. So which point will I choose? Let's see. I'm going to choose the first point and label it x and y. So instead of y equals 3x plus b, I'll replace the x and y values. I have -1 equals 3 times -3 plus b. I multiply this part first. 3 times -3 is -9. Everything else stays the same. And to isolate the b, I'm going to add 9 to both sides, since that's the opposite of -9. Cancels out, and -1 plus 9 equals 8. 8 equals b, or in other words, b equals 8. Now I can write my equation. Y equals 3x plus 8. Let me just rewrite that. Y equals 3x plus 8. This is the equation of our line going through the 2 points, -3, -1, and -4, -4. Here's that graph. So notice the slope is +3, our y-intercept is at 0, 8, and it's going through the 2 given points. So just as a quick review, the equation of a line written in standard form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and 0, b is the y-intercept. To find the equation of the line when given 2 points, first find the slope. Then choose one of the points to find your y-intercept, and then you'll have an equation of the form y equals mx plus b. Great job on this sequence of lessons. Please remember to submit your notes on Canvas.